Transforming your Power Apps to Copilot agents. Now, this whole concept of Power Apps plus agents is nothing new. We have agent integration across the Power Platform and Power Apps. So we have different in-app agents we can use in our model-driven apps for data entry, searching, and filtering. We have the power of Microsoft 365 Copilot in our app. We have agents to help us build apps. But what we're here to talk about is this concept of your app in agents. So it goes into this whole idea of MCP apps, right? Giving us the best of both worlds of having that conversational experience in our AI tools, plus an interactive UI element. So with these MCP apps, they allow us to have those UI elements so that we can easily enter data or see data in a more kind of interactive way. Power Apps has new capability that just launched a couple weeks ago that allows us to take your Power App and add that to Microsoft 365 Copilot as an agent and essentially make that an MCP app. So we're going to see how this works. Now, how this is all possible is through the Power Apps MCP server. So whether you know it or not, every Power App that you're building has its own MCP server that you can use. So this can help you automate things like repetitive tasks, and we can use this MCP server in different agent scenarios and invoke the tools that this server has, like being able to do data entry and return information. So with how this works as a whole, so how do you take an existing model-driven Power App and turn this into an MCP app and an agent in Microsoft 365 Copilot? Well, first, go into your model-driven app and just make sure that your MCP server is activated, which it should be by default. Then there's some built-in integration, which I'll show you, where you can download a package. So it generates automatically everything for you, the agent definition and config needed to be able to deploy this agent into Copilot here. And then we just deploy that to Microsoft 365 and start using it. Now, a few things as far as requirements go to use this to be aware of. Currently, this only works with model-driven applications, so with Dataverse, therefore you need a Power Apps premium license. And since we are deploying this as an agent in Microsoft 365 Copilot, we do need a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. And at the moment, what this supports as far as what it's able to surface up in the agent is grids and forms. But eventually coming soon, we're going to also support custom tools for exposing kind of more app-specific actions. So there's more coming along the way, but for now, it's really good for grids and forms. So this is all best described in a demo. So let's jump over to Power Apps and see how this works. So what I have open here is my model-driven application for sales pipeline. So as we can see, we have three different tables, one where we can see account information. We have one where we can see the deals for a set account, and then we have an activities table as well. So I use this to try to kind of manage my overall sales pipeline, and I would love for this to have kind of a conversational agentic experience and be able to interact with this data. So all I need to do to make this happen is with my model-driven application open here in edit mode, I go over to the settings and our upcoming features and scroll all the way down, and you'll see this option here to download app package. So when you click that, that will download a zip file and have everything that you need to turn this into an agent. So what it looks like, I kind of unpacked this so we can see what it generates for us when we download that app package. So we have our manifest, so everything that we need to take this Power App and turn it into an agent is provided for us. So it's getting a description of this application. So we see a model-driven app for managing accounts, deals, and activities. We have another file here. If we look at the declarative agent.json, so this is taking everything that we need to turn this into a declarative agent. So we have all the capabilities it should light up, like the graph connectors and email and all of that. And if we scroll down, this is the important section of what it's doing for us here. It is pulling in the Dataverse table information. So it's going to call the Dataverse capability and filter it by only the tables that are in this specific Power App. So we have the account, deal, and activity. It also generates some sample prompts for us. So these are the conversation starters, and then the specific actions and instructions. So here are all the instructions for that and capabilities that it lights up. Now, the other thing it's doing for us is the AI plugin. So this is the MCP capability. So all the tools that this should be able to perform with the Power Apps MCP server are listed here. So things we can do with this would be list tables, describe them, creating records, saving them, deleting, seeing views, editing records. All of that is available here and defined automatically for us when we simply download that zip file. So we have the zip file, but how do we turn this into an agent? So we're going to go over to Teams, and you'll just go to your Apps tab, Manage Apps, and then we'll upload that zip file here, which I've already did. So once we have that uploaded, it's going to show up here in the left-hand side. So if we go to All Agents, we can do a search, and we have a sales pipeline tracker. That is our model-driven Power App now turned into an agent for us with this new capability. So I can open this up, start chatting with it, and see what we can do. So it looks just like any declarative agent you might build, but now it has that MCP app capability because it's tied to our Power App with the MCP server. So what I'm asking here is to show me all accounts in the New York region. So something that it should be able to get from some of those tools in the MCP server as far as listing records. So it's going out, we can see it's connecting to our sales pipeline tracker. It's going to go and automatically do a filter of that account table for me for any account in the New York region. And when it returns the result here, we'll see that, normally if we just built a basic declarative agent here, we would get a text-based result where it would list out the different accounts. But with this MCP app integration, it's actually going to show an interactive Power App grid in the conversation, which is exactly what we have here. So we can filter it, we can click on any of these, and these are all of the accounts where the state is in New York, and I can click on those, and it will take me right to the form where I can see additional detail, and I can even open up the Power App to do more with this. So really powerful functionality, all interactive. So, obviously this is one thing that we could do with it. I could make any quick changes I need to here, because there's just some things where it's better to have a form than have to go back and forth with the conversation to make some quick changes. Now, this alone is cool. We can also do things like, so we have those 3 different tables, right? So let me ask it to do something else. Can it maybe tell me all of the high-risk deals that we have that are over $100,000, right? So something that I might want to know really quick before we have a meeting here, so I can update my boss on where we're at. It can go and reason across multiple tables in this case. So we need to be able to go and look up accounts. We need to see what deals are associated with those accounts, and then extract what the risk is of the deal as defined in that table, and then what the value is. So all of that, I would have had to do a lot of manual searching and filtering. Imagine if you have, the tables and with hundreds of thousands of records in them, could take a while to really get that report extracted. Now I can simply interact with an agent in here and get that details, and it can give me that summary of information. So now I am doing this in real time. So there we go, it's popping up, and now we see this, again, interactive grid, filtered view, showing the deal value and the stage that it's in and the account. So you can see all of those high-risk deals. So this alone is cool, but keep in mind, we're integrating this in Microsoft 365 Copilot. So what does that mean? Well, we don't only have to interact with this here in this experience. We can interact with this in the tools we're using. So say I have this record pulled up here, and we get automatically here intake summaries for potential new customers that we want to have, right? So for this, I can use Copilot that we have built into Word with my Microsoft 365 Copilot license, and I can call the agent. So we can go and open up my sales pipeline tracker that we added in the context of this Word doc. And I can say, hey, I see that we have this Pacific Solar customer intake. I just want to verify first that this customer doesn't already exist as an account in our system. So I can do that gut check first, see if it exists. And then if it doesn't, then we can see, okay, maybe can it take this information and help me add that as a new customer record. So it's going through and searching that and seeing if we can find some information, if it exists. So it said it checked, and it did not find any matches. So notice that it's context aware. So it knew that the customer name is Pacific Solar Group. it searched in there and found it didn't exist. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, hey, can you create a new account using this information in the document for this customer then, since I know it doesn't exist now. So it'll go through, look at the tools that are in the Power Apps MCP server, and pop up here in a minute the new input form, hopefully with some of the information pre-filled into that, and then I can just fill in some gaps. So it's just searching again, making sure that it doesn't exist, and then it will pop up that new input form so that I can do that data entry all within the agent here. So regardless whether we're in Word right now, we could do the same concept in Excel and PowerPoint, anywhere that you have data, so you're not having to context switch between applications. So here's exactly what I wanted to see. It did find some relevant information from the document, like the account name mapping to Pacific Solar. It pulled the phone number from this as well for me. So it really reduced some of the manual data entry. There's the city, the state. It pulled all of that from the document, and now I can just accept and save, and it will do that right back to my Power App for me, all within the context of this agent. So changes are saved successfully, just to prove to you that it works. We can go back to our application itself, and then we can look down here and see Pacific Solar Group was added into our Dataverse table. So that's kind of a recap of, a quick overview of what we can do with this. If you want to learn more, this is all possible with the Power Apps MCP server, so there's some good documentation here. If you want to learn more about agents themselves, how to build those, and how you can integrate this with, say, a Copilot Studio agent, Agent Academy is a great resource, and I do have more content on this on YouTube as well. So definitely check that out if you want to keep learning more. Give it a try. It's a powerful new feature. Lots you can do with it.